Okay, I knew this song would appear today in Double Shot Tuesday. The topic or the theme are songs that no one knows the lyrics to. The only debate about this is a word. It's not the rest of the song. The rest of the song is easy. And it's not the word that people think either. But it's a fun tale that's lived on for decades of Man for Man's Earth Band and Blinded by the Light. But hold on, turn this up. What's hard to understand about what he's singing here? It's just the one word that everyone loses their mind
and
over.
it's tough.
Springsteen has a great version. 50857, the text line. The goal of this is songs that have like verses and a lot of the lyrics that no one knows. Like, oh, I know that song. And then you start singing and you just have no clue. So turn it up, Chris. All right, there you go. Anyway.
And that's exactly what the texter texted in too.
I knew we would have that on Double Shot Tuesday. Anyway, welcome to the Tuesday edition of our program. I'm Marc Daniels. That's Chris Vasquez over there. Of course, you can listen to us at 96.9 FM, 740 AM, the iHeart app as you're listening live now, the podcast that you might be listening sometime this afternoon, and the all-new YouTube stream of this show. Where do you find it? Go to YouTube, type in 96.9 The Game Orlando, click on the icon, that's the logo, and then you got the options. Click on live, and then you could catch it. You could send us a message. You watch it, send us a message, and then a few times during the show, we'll do some things during the breaks and have some fun with it, and it's all fun, okay? And our goal is to have 4 people that watch.
Oh, we already beat that. You got to up it.
5.
We're at 5.
6.
Oh, okay. Come on. Have standards, Mark.
No, yesterday was a nice audience for holiday. So anyway, you could watch us, and you can go back and watch the show later. So if it's 4:00 in the afternoon, you're watching the show, then we appreciate that as well.
With us playing licensed music, I don't know if we can do that. So you probably won't hear rejoins. Just a heads up.
Yes, because as Chris just said,
licensing.
Can't play a lot of things on streams, and it's all technical and legal and all that stuff. So Chris hardcore with his Fire Jerry hat and Cowboys hoodie.
Yes. I miss football.
Okay.
And I'm getting all excited. I see a bunch of like mock drafts, and the franchise tag can be applied today at 4 officially. Free agencies right around the corner. Huh? Yeah.
Chris telling his wife, I can't go this afternoon. Why? 4:00. And she's like, why? Franchise tag starts at 4?
George Pickens. Huh? Hello.
Well, Kenneth Walker apparently he's not going to get a check from the Seahawks.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Tax situations with them.
We'll do some NFL stuff coming up a little bit. All that Dolphin stuff broke yesterday during our show.
Mm-hmm.
And then Greg Allman, who covers the NFL for Fox for many years, covered the Bucs. He's going to join us at 10:15 today. Share some thoughts on what the Dolphins are doing and some other names that he thinks maybe finding new homes in the NFL. So we'll get to Greg coming up. Matt Michelle joined us at about 10:35 for his weekly visit. We'll do a little on the mark, off the mark coming up at about 11:35 in the program as well today. So watching the Iowa State-Houston game last night, great game. Great game. 2 teams that can get to the Final Four. Iowa State does a 17-4 run in the final 7 minutes to come back and beat Houston. And the Heisey family had a pretty good day yesterday when Nate hits a big 3 to give Iowa State the lead. He goes 3 of 3 from 3. And that was the second biggest thing that happened in the Heisey family because his sister Taylor scored a goal in the USA women's semifinal victory over Sweden.
Nice.
Yeah. Not a bad day for the family, right?
No, not at all.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, let's get to everybody's favorite segment. I got to fix the lighting in studio. My head looks like a moon. I just looked and like, my God, it looks like the moon. Or like a solar eclipse is happening on my forehead.
I don't think I need to tell a joke after that.
Fix the lighting. All right, go ahead.
Mark, I asked my date to meet me at the gym, but she never showed up. I guess the two of us aren't going to work out. We're not going to work out.
He's so proud right now. He's so proud. Wow. All right.
We're not going to work out.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is pretty good. No one has a clue what he's saying in a good portion of this song. Today's theme on Double Shot Tuesday, songs that no one knows the lyrics at some point in the song. Want to be starting something, Michael Jackson. 50857 on the text line. If you're on the video stream, you're not hearing
Correct.
the music because of licensing. Wait, so they're not even hearing me right now?
No, they're hearing you.
Oh, you're just not hearing the music.
Correct.
All right. So the three of you that are watching the stream right now.
4. Come on, man.
Pick up the numbers.
Damn it, Mark.
Yeah, 50857, the text line for Double Shot Tuesday. Greg Allman, who covers the NFL for Fox and has covered the Bucs for, I think, 20 plus years, is going to join us next segment. We'll talk to Greg about what the Dolphins did yesterday, are doing, some other NFL stuff. He's got a piece up on Fox Sports about other potential big names that could be available. And I want to ask him about Mike Evans. Does Mike Evans play another snap for the Bucs?
I would say yes. I don't think he plays anywhere else.
Okay. We'll ask Greg about that coming up in just a little bit. Yesterday, during our show, the Dolphin news began to come out. And by the way, the first name hasn't formally been let go by the Dolphin. That's Bradley Chubb. There's a little bit of math into that as to when. And then the news about Tyreek Hill that came out. And then a couple other names. The Dolphins begin this rebuild. And we were talking on the show yesterday. Chris and I brought this up, and I mentioned on the bridge with Kelly, that I don't think any Dolphin fan is surprised. And there's a brief period, Chris, I think you'll agree, there's a brief period when you're kind of like, yeah, now we're getting some stuff done. Okay? Because reality has set in that this is a rebuild for Miami right now. Like if you have a contending team, Chris, when the offseason starts, your first thought is, we're so close. Can we add this player or this position? Because that could be the difference of winning a championship. When it's the other way, there's a brief period of excitement like, all right, yeah, getting rid of some of the dead weight. Now we're talking. And then reality is going to settle in when it's going to be like, oh, okay, I gotta take the pain next blank. And blank is how many years is what it is. I played the clip on the bridge from Drew Rosenhaus, who was on a TV station down in South Florida, WSBN, and Drew does a show with him throughout the season. When asked about Tyreek Hill, and Chris, I had my say about Tyreek Hill the last couple of years. I think he lost his privilege to play in the National Football League with actions off the field. However, people trying to speculate on a market for Tyreek Hill. What market? He's not healthy. He apparently and even Drew Rosenhaus in that clip said, he's got a long road back. So as people want to speculate on a market, what market? Right?
Does he take a snap in the league this year?
I don't know. But like I came in and I don't know what it may have been one of the ESPN shows. Like, how about to reunite with the Chiefs? Hang on a second. He's not clear to play. Nobody even knows when he can come back and play. So that is the market. The market is at what price, and first, what health? If somebody says, and I'm sure Drew Rosenhaus is optimistic, if Tyreek wants to play, but what would the market be? Or WY Orlando, HD Cocoa Beach. So that's Tyreek Hill, who's not going to be with the Dolphins. So it doesn't matter. And then what other moves might Miami make? And yesterday, and then the projection of what else Miami can do. Like, hey, they're going to be near the bottom. I think today they're 26th, according to Spot Rag, 26th in dollars committed for 2026. Yeah, that's before you put on the dead money. And then the decision about what you want to do with Tua and what happens there. So Miami's not done. I mean, they've got some decisions to make about a number of other players. My guess is they have a pretty good idea what they want to do. Like, Chris, do you think the Dolphins made a decision about Tua?
Yeah, they know this is gonna be his last year.
Okay, that kinda was and wasn't my question, meaning, do you like, their first choice would be to trade him.
Yes. They wanna get some kinda compensation.
And kind of like, but not like, in college football, the obvious nonstop tampering. In the NFL, there's an official period when you can do certain things, but let's not kid ourselves. As the offseason begins in the NFL, you will have informal discussions through agents and others like, what is the market? And as we've discussed in the last few weeks, what would the market be for Tua? Well, the answer to that question is at what price? And by the way, and it gets confusing, even if Stephen Ross eats a portion of it, it doesn't necessarily help Miami because dollars still count. So, what is the market? And in the end, do you have to just say it's not worth it? You have to keep him. And then there's a point to be made, as you and I were talking yesterday. You band-aid the quarterback position, and is any snap to a veteran a wasted snap? Meaning, if Quinn Ewers is going to be on the roster next year for Miami, are the Dolphins better to see, do you have anything with a bigger sample size than what you got the last month of the season or the last couple of games? Was it 2 or 3 games you started?
I think 4.
Was it 4? Okay. Um, versus
Yeah, sort of.
4, okay, versus bringing in a veteran and gaining nothing out of it.
Sorry, no, it was 3.
3? Okay. Or bringing in a veteran, like I joked yesterday about guys available to sign or play for a different team each week. And I understand that philosophy. Like, even if you got a Kirk Cousins or a Joe Flacco on the cheap, is that helping the Dolphins? Versus, look, if Ewers is gonna be on the roster, why not play him to see, "Hey, wait a minute, there's something here," uh, versus the veteran?
Let me ask you this. The Dolphins are expected to be back, right?
Yes.
So why would you wanna bring in a veteran? Why not see what you have in Quinn
No, I
Ewers?
understand. I'm saying
Like,
that as I read some people that cover the Dolphins, I understand that.
it wouldn't make any sense to bring anyone else in.
Now, the only thing you would do is well, okay, if you wanted some if you decided Tua is not playing, okay, and I'm not saying the off the field stuff just it's kinda like what the Browns have done with Deshaun Watson, okay? I mean, he was medically cleared and just like, "Hey, he's not gonna play." If you don't want him to take a snap, I still think you might want somebody that's got some experience, to be there, but without any money that goes beyond next season, just $0. Like, "This is it, we're paying you for this season." That makes sense, that's fine.
I mean, you had Zach Wilson, but you kinda burned that bridge when you started Quinn Ewers over Zach Wilson.
Burn what bridge?
He was upset that he wasn't named starter.
And if he has no market, what bridge was burned?
Well, I'm saying he could have been a cheap veteran.
Well, you could probably find somebody. I mean, there's always somebody, and again, not that you're trying to win games, um, but I can understand, um, and as I said yesterday, and I'll just kinda repeat today, every fan base goes through that initial, "It was so bad, I couldn't stand this guy, glad we got rid of him, can't stand Tua, McDaniel, it didn't work out, career was terrible, moved on," and by the way, you go back and look, there were some bad deals that they signed guys that you're just like, "That was dumb." Gave guaranteed money to guys that are gone after 1 year, and yeah, you get excited, "Okay, new regime," and you get fired up, and then, you know, 1 in 6 comes at you hard, man. 1 in 6, I'm just telling you, I've lived, Chris knows this the last couple of years, when you've not hit Halloween and your season's over, it's just not fun. It's just not yeah. By the way, what do you think of Seattle possibly parting ways with a Super Bowl MVP?
Well, he he his regular season was good, it wasn't great.
Ended up
Career
sharing
low
carries a lot.
career low in touchdowns.
Yeah,
Came through when it mattered most.
right,
But at the running back position,
which is the position that everyone's hesitant.
Seattle is probably gonna move on.
Yeah, I mean, they've gotta pay the dude that caught all those balls on the outside.
Yeah.
there's some other guys that
And what they'll probably do is maybe try and find a cheaper veteran
yeah,
or draft someone and pair him up with Zach Charbonnet and hope that they can rinse and repeat.
the market for Walker
I think it'll be decent. A decent sized market.
thing. I don't know if he's
At
getting
least
a
a
massive deal, but I think he's
I think
probably got a
I
market.
think at least a third of the league. They pointed out some of his weaknesses during the Super Bowl. The fact that he's not the best blocker, not the best receiver. They can't really use him as a 3 down back necessarily, but he'll have a decent market. Say at least a fourth of the league.
He's won, was it holding call from 170 yards? Remember the
Yeah,
touchdown got called back?
yeah.
But no, it's kind of interesting because even in Seattle, you win a Super Bowl, everything's great. But quickly, the reality of the next season hits you where you're like, "Wait, done?" And maybe he's not. Maybe they agree to a price, but if they're not gonna tag him, he does become an unrestricted free agent, and that's the reality of how fast you turn the page. Like, "We love you, it's great, we'll never forget it," but guys like John Schneider are really good at what they do because you gotta be disciplined in saying, "I gotta look at the big picture here. I can't live on emotion."
It's a business. It's a
Yeah.
business.
Greg Allman talks more NFL with us. We'll get his thoughts. Covers the NFL for Fox and, of course, covered the Bucs many, many years. What the Dolphins did and some other names. Greg got a piece up of other potential name guys that may be available as teams to make decisions about what they want to commit to. We'll talk to Greg I don't think Eddie Vedder knows the lyrics of this song. There's no chance he does. Yellow Light, classic song of today's Double Shot Tuesday theme. Songs with lyrics that 50857 on the text line. Greg Allman's covered the NFL for a lot of years, and these days he's doing it for Fox Sports for many years over the Tampa Bay Times. Athletic. He's on Twitter, Greg Allman, and he's kind of joined us on this Tuesday morning. Greg, good morning. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, guys. Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Just get your thoughts as the purge began in Miami yesterday with the news. Bradley Chubb eventually will make that move, but the announcement on Tyreek and some others. Just your view of what the Dolphins did and what really is going to be a massive roster rebuild down there.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I don't know that either was a surprise, kind of given the tenor of the offseason, but somebody was just pointing out this morning that, again, like you think about the draft picks they gave up to get Chubb, who was a first round pick, obviously to get Tyreek, was a huge package of picks, and to have no playoff wins, no real playoff relevance for all those people, for the two of them, it's a big swing. So, I think knowing how the team is rebranding, GM, a new coach, but probably a new quarterback, there's going to be a lot different about the Miami team. It makes sense. It does free up a fair amount of space for them to be able to bring in new faces and make this a team that's branded with the new head coach, new GM, but it's still a lot. The offensive, the guard, Jim Daniels, got, I think, $7.2 million to play 3 snaps is the way it worked out. It's a bad injury, obviously, but just emblematic of a rough run of free agent swings and misses, trades and misses.
Greg, you've covered the league a while, and yes, there are examples of the last first in the NFL, but a rebuild doesn't come with guarantees. And sometimes the fan base has to be patient a lot longer. I don't know how long this is going to take, but this isn't going to be a one-year fix in Miami. Can't be, right?
No. I mean, if you look at the AFC East right now, I mean, geez, think about you had that leap in your division, which makes it tough. And I don't know that the Patriots will sustain at a 13-win set, but they're a playoff for sure. And Buffalo is still every bit what they've been with the changing coaching there. I think with some continuity, they'll be still a force in a postseason presence there. So now you're just trying to, outgun the Jets for third. I mean, it's not a fun place to be. I think to see Seattle and New England make the Super Bowl when they both were 60-1 shots for the season. You hope, but it's still a lot. I saw Miami fairly late in the season. Tampa went down there. They beat Tampa. Really need wins. I mean, it's not that they're far away at all. I just think figuring out quarterback when you're paying somebody else a huge amount of money at quarterback is a tough thing to do. Whether it's Willis or what they do there, they kind of have to find a budget-friendly stopgap in a year or options in the draft order.
It's a violent physical game, so everybody deals with it. The Dolphins can wonder this recent year about what if. I mean, if Tua doesn't suffer the concussion, if they don't have some of the other injuries, maybe it would have worked with Marc Daniels, but it didn't. And now they're left with this decision about Tua. As you observe and talk to people around the league, it's a lot if they're going to eat it. I mean, people point to what Denver did with Russell Wilson. It's a little bit different in some ways, but if you had to guess, where do you think Miami goes with the Tua decision?
No, I mean, Tua and Kyler Murray are both in the same boat in terms of guys that got that massive $50 million a year contract, and now both teams are kind of washing their hands in that. So it's a matter of how need a break. Do you pay? It sounds like Miami doesn't want to pay for the salary down. It's kind of like, if you pay $30 million to get someone to invest $20 million, it's still kind of better than if you paid $50 million outright to not have him with your team. So it's finding a partner for that. And I feel like right now, as much as Murray and Tua didn't work out where they were, they're still better than a decent amount of guys that would be starting. So I think there'll be a market for them. Again, it could be that Russell Wilson thing where, they can get a guy for a league minimum deal for 1 year because there's offset language and another team is already paying them plenty that year. But it'll be a chance for those two. You think about Kirk Cousins, not really in the same boat because he's so much older, but he's somebody that'll probably be in line to get a starting job or be a bridge quarterback with a rookie or something like that. One of those is going to have a chance to reset themselves and be better. I mean, they always threw for yards. You look at Kyler, you look at Tua. It's not that they weren't, 4,000-yard passers. They just didn't win. So it's a matter of finding a place that they think will set them up to recast their identity and kind of reestablish them as a solid NFL starter.
We could start putting out franchise tags. There's an interesting story with reports out of Seattle that maybe Kenneth Walker is not going to get tagged. And I was commenting before you came on, the next season the NFL comes at you quickly. You could celebrate and send guys to Disney World or Disneyland and be an MVP of a Super Bowl, and you may be not welcomed anymore. What's your thoughts on what may happen in Seattle?
Well, I mean, not tagging him doesn't mean not welcome. I mean, I think with Zach Charbonnet dealing with a bad injury, I mean, they kind of need to keep Kenneth Walker. It might be that they're just in a position where they'd rather write. I mean, a franchise tag is tough because it takes that whole salary counts against the cap that year. So you can't do some of the cap gymnastics you can do with a 4-year deal and the initial salary is low, and that helps the cap situation early on. I think they're going to pay to keep him in Seattle. I think to see the success they had, especially the success he had in the Super Bowl, it'd be crazy. I mean, they've got some really tough decisions to make in their defensive secondary, in guys like Tariq Woolen and Josh Jobe and Kobe Bryant, a couple other, good names. They have players they're going to have to pay to keep. They're not going to be able to keep them all. But I think Kenneth Walker is definitely part of what they keep. I think they know that's smart.
Greg Almonds with us, covers the NFL for Fox and Fox Sports. You've covered the Bucs for a long, long time. I cannot imagine Mike Evans putting on another jersey. So will I see that, or should I expect Mike Evans to still wear Buccaneer colors?
I still think, I mean, there's legit 3 options in play, and I think him playing elsewhere is probably the smallest of the 3. I don't know if that's like a 50, 30, 20 type split or what. I think there's still a good chance he's back. I think, there definitely felt like a chance he would retire. To see him late in the season, he was almost annoyed that fans thought he might be done. So I think there's still something in him that doesn't want to go out injured and limited, not getting 1,000 yards on a non-playoff team. But I do think he wants to make sure if he comes back that he's confident all those things can be better. So whether that's, Bucs don't have a ton of cap space and have plenty of talent at receiver already, but Mike is one of those Derek Brooks types where you almost want to see them pay more than they should just to let him have a career that's all in one city, start to finish. But again, that can't be a blank check. That can't be, more than what he was making on his last contract. So I'll be curious to see that somebody floated. I think ESPN floated Buffalo for him today. I would be surprised if he goes that far away and that cold. But Buffalo could certainly use a number 1 receiver, and I think that would give him, the excitement and the chance to, I think Buffalo probably wants to make a splash in terms of adding somebody big as they break in a new stadium, new coach, new chance to kind of rebrand, even though much of the key pieces are already in place there. I'd be surprised. I mean, Houston a year ago, or 2 years ago, we talked about Mike in Houston just because he's from Galveston. That's home for him. Another contender that could probably use an upgraded receiver. That would probably surprise me a little bit less than Buffalo would.
Other than health, what are the 1 or 2 biggest priorities for the Bucs this offseason?
Yeah, definitely starts with health. I think figuring out the middle of their defense. Linebacker was a problem. Levante David, I right now think he's probably retiring. If he does come back, he's 36 years old. So I do think they need to address linebacker in a big way. I think they need to get help at edge rusher. Obviously, Hassan Reddick didn't work out for them. Probably need to invest that much and more. If their first 2 picks aren't at those 2 positions, I'll be surprised. But that's where they need to start, is in the front of their defense.
You got a piece up at foxsports.com as we see names like a Tyreek Hill, though his injury is going to be a big question, about some other names that may suddenly pop up out there as you put that list together. What are perhaps the most intriguing names that you think might be available out there?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Kirk Cousins, and he's probably, very likely to go out just because of the sheer money he's due in Atlanta. There's decent names all over that. I mean, we did a corresponding list that was the top 100 free agents, and obviously you can kind of be on both lists, and that these guys that are going to be cut. Again, Michael Pittman, okay, pretty good receiver in Indy, Not sure if he fits in there or not, but as they're trying to keep Alec Pierce there, it does them no good to give Pittman like a non-guaranteed $22 million if that means you lose out on Alec Pierce. So he's somebody that could get cut loose. And all these guys, they're not all, 35-year-old. There's a lot that are just big free agent swings and misses from 2 years ago, and the guaranteed money is gone, and these teams can now kind of concede their losses and move on and kind of throw them back. It's NFL catch and release, basically.
Brandon
no,
Ayuk's another guy. I mean, what?
Yeah, Ayuk, absolutely. Yeah. Again, got a $30 million a year contract.
Incredible, yeah.
And then he gets hurt and kind of messes up in a way that voids all those guarantees and lets the Niners walk away. So, yeah, I mean, if he's healthy and he's the guy, I mean, $30 million a year as a receiver, he should be a 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown number one receiver for somebody, but they're going to have to take on an injury risk and make sure he's healthy. I'll be curious to see what the market is for him. I would think he probably takes a solid one-year deal that lets him reset himself and get a big payday a year from now.
What do you do for the Colts with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, it's hard to say. And that, you think about where he was for the first 9 games of this past season and how exciting that was. I think they're committed to him. That Sauce Gardner trade took away their draft pick. So it took away their ability to find an easy replacement for him. So now it's just a matter of they have to know better than we do how quickly he comes back from that, whether it's a week 1 comeback or a week 5 comeback. They have Anthony Richardson, but that's not really a solution either. So I think they'll pay him. I'll be surprised if, given the Achilles injury, that he gets more than a year guaranteed, whether it's a franchise tag or just a 1-year placeholder deal. I think he'll get paid as much as any quarterback this year. I just don't know. I don't know how that works itself out. I think he'll be Indy's guy, and I think by halftime, halfway through this coming season, I think he'll be leading them. I just don't know physically where he is right now.
Check out Greg's work. You can get him at X or Twitter at Greg Auman. That's AUMAN, covering for Fox Sports, the NFL, and of course the Buccaneers. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. You guys take care.
Yeah, there's a few interesting names that got big salaries.
I was intrigued by the and I've seen this a lot pop up too, the Michael Pittman situation in Indy. Don't know what they're doing at quarterback because Anthony Richardson's obviously not the answer. Do you bring back Daniel Jones coming off his injury? So you don't know who's getting them the ball. He mentioned Alec Pierce.
Well, for one, I'm not quite sure anybody thinks Daniel Jones is ready to start the year. So if you're not going to give Anthony Richardson another go, you need somebody at quarterback, and Phillip Rivers ain't coming back.
So that's an interesting situation over there in Indy. Again, Mike Evans, is he putting on another uniform? It's so hard to see him in another uniform.
But if I said Mike Evans, Buffalo Bills.
No. The cold. Greg mentioned it, the cold. No, I don't see him going up there. You're not going to want to. The older you get, those hits.
Unless the money was just so crazy.
I mean, Buffalo does need a number one receiver, but they can get one in the draft.
I'm still like you. And it's not for you and I to tell Mike Evans, hey, don't worry about the money. I guess I just vote. I just view Mike Evans and Greg used a Derek Brooks example. Like, not going to put another uniform on. And I like the Bucs because of our location. Obviously, my roots are as far as the team goes, but I love stories like that. Like I love Derek Brooks at Florida State. Love Derek Brooks, and I hope there are still guys that say, you know what, I guess I could leave and make a few more $1 million. I'm pretty good right now. Maybe they don't pay me as much, but it matters to finish my career. Maybe he thinks that way.
And if anything, he mentioned going back home to Texas, playing for the Houston Texans. Maybe I don't think Houston.
Then someone put on video CJ Stroud's last game.
Good Lord. No, I do think maybe 1 or a 2-year deal. Mike Evans comes back to Tampa, and then he'll finish his career here.
Right, but and I appreciate Greg saying it's his hometown, and maybe still has a ton of family there. He's lived in Tampa for his whole career. That's his home. It's his family and everything right there. So,
yeah, but he spent the first how many years of his life?
I know, but I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. Again, I don't know what his family may be back in his hometown, but when people play better than a decade at some place, that is a home.
Does the fact that he's got a Super Bowl ring
I don't know.
impact his
I
decision?
don't know. I don't know.
Because a lot of guys, when you get to be Mike Evans' age, if you haven't won a ring,
Yeah. And like, here's the question: how much do you want to be recruited? I mean, it's a different type of recruitment, but now it's almost the same pay for play.
Mhm.
I mean, if the Bills say, "Hey, just come on a visit," just come to visit, and I got the video, and I got winning a Super Bowl, and I got Josh Allen, I got a new stadium and everything. People can get emotional about it, but maybe he says, "No, thanks."
I mean, maybe you entertain the idea. Maybe that causes the Bucks to throw a few extra bucks your way.
I don't know. We'll see. Matt Michelle's weekly visit coming up tonight. UCF basketball, another big game for them. They got TCU. We got coverage at 6:30. Tips after 7:00. If you're on the stream with us at YouTube, if you haven't found it, go to 96 of the game Orlando. Click on the 96 on the game logo. You got the option. Click on live. You can follow the stream. And let's say next 25 minutes, we'll do a little show within the show on the stream.
Let's talk to the listeners.
So we'll do that in about 25. That doesn't get you to go over there. I don't know what. The 5 of you watching now.
Well, hey. Oh, yeah, it's 5 now. Well, 6. Well, Mark will take his shirt off for you guys.
No.
Yes, he will.
You can ask anything, but no shirt coming off. Matt Michelle next. This is Rush, right?
Never heard this song.
XYZ.
According to this, it's YYZ.
Oh, that's right. Jason Siegel, the sports commission's coming in to drop off stuff for me. Oh, wow. Donuts. Wow. He's asking when the last time I had a donut. That's a good question. It's a good question. I'll give Chris one and I'll take one home to my wife. Yeah. All right. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, we got special guests coming in studio, dropping off some donuts.
Well, courtesy of the Glass Knife. You ever had dessert Glass Knife?
I haven't.
Oh,
I'll have to check them out.
Chris. Yeah. They just opened up a new one. Well, opened a few months now on Park Avenue.
Okay.
And then the one right across from Hillstone. You know, we're the fancy people, Chris.
Yeah, you won't find me there. I'm not fancy at all.
Can't order by number. I'll have a number 4, extra large. Let's get to Matt Michelle. So I don't know, Chris. I'm curious. Let's make a guess before we ask. Oh, I'm going to ask him. Matt Michelle, you think donut guy or not donut guy?
On occasion.
Yeah, I used to be. I used to be one a long time ago, but I became lactose intolerant late in life, and that kind of changed what you can eat. What kind of donuts you can eat. They have to have no dairy, no butter in them. So it's
a lot of things I'm intolerant about today, Matt. It's not just lactose product. Yeah, a lot of things.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, exactly. I just want to share this. I'm just intolerant to everything. How about that? Maybe go for there.
All right, let's dive into them things. Let me get your view. Sometimes I'm too close to this, but let me get your view on UCF basketball. A couple of weeks ago, the bubble looks great. People talking about a 6 or 7 seed, and life can come at you fast in the Big 12 at Houston, at Cincinnati, then blowing a 14-point lead with 11 to go against West Virginia. The Knights are moving themselves off the wrong side of the bubble, and now a massive game against TCU. So I'll give you a chance to take my emotion out of it and tell me what you're watching.
No, that's exactly what I'm watching. I mean, I think the thing that stood out, listen, we know Houston's a good team. They're a good defensive team. It didn't shock me that UCF lost that game on the road to a good team like the Cougars. I think what was more kind of puzzling was the loss at Cincinnati, being over a 20-point loss at Cincinnati, considering the fact that the Bearcats were really struggling going into that game. And, we saw Wes Miller kind of have his little meltdown a little bit. And then, UCF just didn't play UCF basketball in that game, and they got blown out. And then you follow that up with a game against West Virginia at home where second half they come out on a big run. They look good. This looks like they're on their way cruising to a win. And then all of a sudden, by 11-minute mark, they just looked like they lost all steam. And West Virginia was able to come back and, pounded the ball inside, rebounded them, and did everything right and got the win. And so to me, that's the thing that I asked Johnny a little bit after the game about, that this idea of like, okay, how the losses are happening. This isn't like you lost by a point or two or a last second shot or something like that. These are basically losses where the team hasn't played well. And don't get me wrong, Jermichael Stillwell not playing against West Virginia was a huge loss for them. They needed his presence in the middle, not just for rebounding, but also he's kind of the backbone of this team when they're on the floor. So I think for UCF now, it's about how do you kind of avoid a 3-game losing streak going to 4 or 5? How can you find a way to get back on the right track? They've got a big game tonight, as you mentioned, against TCU. This is almost as close to a must-win as they have to have, because then they go on the road for a 2-game set in Utah against Utah and BYU. And as the games kind of dwindle down, it's going to be tougher if you start to struggle a little bit. So I think it's really kind of for them, it's about getting themselves back to what they were doing well, rebounding the ball, shooting the ball well, especially three-point range, getting the ball around, passing the ball well, avoiding turnovers, things that they did well for a while there. They've just kind of gotten out of sync now, and they need to find a way to kind of reboot and get themselves back on track.
One stat is not the narrative, but it's important. UCF, when they out-rebound opponents, is 16-0, and they're 1-7 when they get out-rebounded. So could be a big a stat to keep an eye on tonight. Let me pivot here. Bill Moose wrote a book, and if you ever write a book, I haven't. Someday, maybe. You got to sell it, and you got to be able to know where to sell books. And he knew what to do some interviews at Lincoln, Nebraska. It's not the biggest part of his book, but a key part is he talks about the hiring of Scott Frost. It went viral. A lot of things that he said, a lot of things in the book went viral. It's his view of some things. It's interesting. I'm just curious. As you read and heard, and some of the responses people had, and obviously Scott hasn't said anything public, and I don't think Scott should. But just your thoughts on what Bill Moose wrote about Scott Frost.
Well, again, this is a situation where I think in Scott's case, we knew that going in, we knew all this before this book came out, that I don't necessarily know was 100% invested in the idea of going back to Nebraska. When he was approached about the idea of being a coach there, I think he was on the fence. You saw how difficult it was for him to leave UCF, when it came down to it. I think there were a lot of circumstances that he's talked about, and about his family and going back to where he had success, and trying to maybe rebuild, a program that he had helped, take to the highest echelon. But, nothing really shocks me that what Bill said. I just think there's points of that. It's like, you're right. You're selling a book. So you got to find some things that are very salacious or things that you think will draw a lot of interest. The idea that, he was, somehow turned off that Scott Frost showed up for the interview wearing sweats and unshaven. Why does that matter? We're talking about a guy who's like a night before a big football game, and is, this is not supposed to be a secret meeting. If Scott had dressed up and shaved and showed up in a suit and tie and left the team hotel, I think it would have been a little strange for that. I think it would have tipped off something was going on. So, and again, if you're a guy who's not necessarily, you're the one who's being courted, it's not like you should have to, put on airs to impress them. It's their idea of them trying to make you want to be sold on the idea. So nothing, like I said, really shocked me. I think, again, Bill is selling this book, as you pointed out. I think he's trying to get as much, interest in it as he can. It's a self-published book, so I'm sure there's a lot of money that is invested in it, and he wants to make sure he at least recovers that. And so I think that's where some of this came out of. And there's nothing about it that I thought, wow, Scott's got to address this, or, well, we got to ask Scott about it when we see him next. I think it's just a guy just kind of talking about his past and trying to maybe sell some books.
Let me tell you, somebody that was in the lobby when Scott Frost walked across the lobby to go into an SUV that very night, if he was wearing a suit and tie, it would have been incredibly odd. It would have been incredibly odd.
And I think everyone would have noticed that. And then it would have been like, oh my gosh, something's going on. And, someone might have leaked that out, and that would have basically done. So instead, a guy shows up and what he's wearing. And again, we all know Scott, we all know coaches as well. If you're preparing for a game, your thought process is on breaking down film, getting all, doing the things you need to do to win a game. It's not, okay, now I've got to go get ready for an interview. It's, okay, you come to, I'm doing this to kind of, going out there and talking to you just as kind of a way of seeing what's going on. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, again, it's all about this idea. I thought what's interesting is Bill bringing his wife into it. How his wife had set up the room and how she had her opinion on Scott and everything. It made me laugh a little bit. But I guess that's what you got to do when you want to sell a book.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you didn't hire him, there were 5 other schools ready to give him whatever he wanted to. So, but anyway, let's just move on. The Jerome Tang story. Do you find that interesting in the sense of? It's an era that we pay players. I think we may get more similar press conferences, maybe not as extreme, but I think Kansas State's Gene Tiller, the AD, just wants to at least get some sort of settlement. But there's no way they're going to have to owe him nothing here.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, if you're Jerome, you're not walking away from this without getting a big sum of money. I mean, because listen, the only reason this move was made is because they're trying to wipe away $18.7 million buyout that they would owe him. And, so they try to find a way that we're going to do this for cause because you embarrass the university by, blasting your team to the media. I'm sorry. That's been going on for decades. I mean, Bob Knight used to do that all the time. We've got Calipari has done it. Some of the greatest coaches in college basketball history have basically laid it out there about how bad their team has played at one time or another. I think that, what Jerome was trying to do was trying to motivate his team a little bit to say, listen, I'm embarrassed. You need to earn the name, you need to go out there and play. But I think this is a school that wants to get rid of the head coach. Listen, Kansas State has, it's been 3 years removed from an NCAA tournament bid. They've had losing seasons the last 2 or 3 years. I think they just were trying to figure out a way to get rid of this, this giant buyout. And the only way you can do that is by saying, okay, let's try to find a way to make it out that he violated his contract, and you will sue him and won't pay him a thing. I don't think that's going to work. I think, honestly, that any lawyer will tell you that Jerome's got a great case here, and more than likely he's going to get a huge settlement out of this. So they're going to owe money, whether it's going to be the full $18 million. They're going to owe something. And I think what you don't want to do as a school, and never want to be in this situation, is you don't want to go through a court case, because eventually what's going to happen is that's where stuff comes out that you're hoping never comes out, whether it's text messages, emails, whatever. And you don't want to go through that. So they're going to sell at some point. I think this is just a Kansas State really trying to find a way to save some money, and in the end, it's really not going to help.
You follow college football. You follow a lot of different stories. I'll give Sacramento State credit. It's a great video they put out announcing the move to the MAC. A little bit different than when UCF had to join the MAC. Do you have any idea how this makes financial sense? I trust other people that study these numbers. It's a bold president that's said a lot of things, but they're going to pay $18 million, pay another 5 to 6 to transition to FBS, pay the travel expense for teams to get out there for a program that made $600,000 in ticket sales and less than $600,000 in sponsorship sales.
Yeah. I mean, this financially, this is a horrible move. This is one of those deals where if you're a financial advisor, you're telling, don't do this. I mean, because look at it. This is a program that's went 30-20 since 2022. This isn't a program that's, it's not like North Dakota State, where you've got a program that's had a level of success, that has built a big fan base, that has a booster that can help, with the transition when it comes to finances. You're essentially begging anyone to take you, and you're saying, we'll pay anything. We'll pay, we don't got conference distribution. We'll pay your travel costs, whatever it takes to get there. Their payoff, they believe, is at some point that if they get enough buzz, enough generate enough interest, that will basically help them generate money. And I'm not sure if it's going to generate the kind of money they think it's going to generate. Because I think to do that, you're going to have success pretty much immediately. You're going to have to find a way to be on national television. And no disrespect to the Mid-American Conference, believe me. I have roots deep in there, being from Ball State. The idea of MAC games being on Tuesday, Wednesday night maybe puts you out there a little bit, but it's nowhere near what it would be like if you're in another conference. Let's say like the American, where you may be playing on a bigger platform, on a bigger network. So to me, I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me. This is basically someone who's desperate to try to get their school up and maybe promote it. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. It works for SMU because SMU has money. Remember, SMU did the same sort of deal somewhat with the ACC, but it works because SMU had money. I don't know if Sacramento State has that kind of money, as you just pointed out. It's not like they're making money hand over fist. So it's an odd move. I'm not sure how the Mid-American Conference is going to enjoy, especially some of those coaches enjoy traveling across the country to play at Sacramento State. I think it's going to be a challenge, and I'll see how it goes over the next 2 or 3 years.
Speaking of money, I'm sure you read the story recently. Kirby Hocutt, the AD at Texas Tech, talked about they've got another way to take money from their media rights holder, put it into the NIL pool, and it basically says, hey, if you thought we spent last year $40 million, just wait till we get done this year. And I'm not faulting them, because I don't know what the rules are, but he made it pretty clear, hey, whatever we spent last year, we're going to blow past that this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was not hiding at all. Like, we're going to spend. We're going to find a way to get the players we need to get. We're going to make sure that if our evaluation didn't work out, if we didn't get the right guys, we're going to have extra money to be able to get guys to be able to do that. And I don't know, when you hear that, if you're a school that's not anywhere near that level financially, how do you react to that? I mean, this idea of, okay, we're busting our butt, begging, looking for money and couch cushions to make sure we can pay, and compete. But then you turn around and you see other schools who are saying, oh yeah, we're going to spend, $20 million more than what you spent, and we're going to make sure we're going to have the resources. It's got to be disheartening in a lot of ways, and I'm not sure until the College Sports Commission finds a way to make this all even things out, maybe making sure that something like this doesn't get carried away. I'm not sure what there is to do. I mean, it seems like everyone right now is trying to find a way of getting money anywhere they possibly can, finding whether it's directing money from third-party endorsements to their athletic department, from the school to the athletic department, to the athletes themselves. I mean, it just seems like everyone's trying to find a way to generate more income and make sure that they're having success. Now, I mean, Texas Tech did get in the college football playoff and did win the Big 12, but again, at some point, it's going to be, you got to figure out, is the money going to lead you to a title? Because right now, I mean, it hasn't, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of years. So it's a little disheartening, and it's a little bit unsure for a lot of people across the country, but that's what you're supposed to do when you have that kind of resources.
Follow him on X or Twitter at OS Matt Michelle for coverage of everything college sports. See you tonight, Matt. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Matt Michelle, some good insight, a whole bunch of different topics. Busy 11 o'clock hour. One college football coach has an idea to fix all of our problems. Whoa, I'm in. Let me listen. On the mark, off the mark. We'll kick it off with the news. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, stay there. A special show within the show. If you're not, go to our YouTube stream right now. Go to YouTube, put in 96.9 The Game Orlando, click on the 96.9 The Game icon, and then the live button, and join us for the show within the show, which is coming up next.
Hello, hello.
Are we up?
We're up.
Okay, these are the donuts that Jason Siegel brought by from the glass tonight. There are 2 donuts in here. Chris is going to get one of them. They're glazed donuts, but these are big glazed donuts. These are like massive.
Nice.
Are you a donut guy?
I am a donut guy.
Okay, can I ask a question to anybody watching on the stream, the 3 of you that may be doing this?
4.
Do you know what a goober and a raisinette are?
Yes, the little chocolate balls.
Okay, if you were given a choice, now the goobers are chocolate-covered peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
The raisinettes are chocolate-covered raisins, okay? They still sell those, I guess, in like movie theaters.
I haven't been to a movie theater in I don't know how long.
Who chooses raisinettes?
I was always a Sour Patch Kids.
Like if I said to you, the last time you got goobers or raisinettes? Never. And I'm old. Don't you kind of don't you kind of associate that with like something an older person gets? Goobers, or it just doesn't even sound. What'd you get? Goobers.
That's like something you
like what'd you just get? Chocolate M&Ms.
That's what you
or peanut M&Ms.
That's what you call your kid. Like, what up, goober?
Like, kids, what do you want? Can I get some goobers and raisinette? Like,
act your age.
What 12-year-old kid would say, Dad, you know what? And you're like, what? You want some popcorn or something? No. Can I get some raisinettes? I would call the kid outside and have a conversation with him right now.
Act your age.
Yeah. Like, what's your go-to candy at a movie theater?
Someone said, as someone who worked in a theater, half of those box candies never get touched. Again, I would imagine it's Sour Patch Kids, Skittles.
Yeah. Well, they don't get touched because not this person, because you're charging $6 for the box that I could get for $1.90 outside. But anyway, yeah.
That's why people sneak in their candy.
Or slab of ribs or something like that, or pub sub. Yeah. You would get what? Sour Patch?
Sour Patch Kids or Skittles.
Yeah. Just can't do something loud.
You can't eat pretzels?
Soft pretzel is okay. You can't eat, So, any questions anybody wants to ask? But I just saw that, like, goobers and raisinettes are still sold in the majority of movie theaters. I'm like, who's buying that?
I'm honestly surprised movie theaters are still around.
Yeah, they're, they need to survive.
I hope so.
Scott Harris is coming in for Movie Wednesday tomorrow. Always sends me a picture of real cheese when he gets his cheese and dip and so forth. REEL, real cheese.
Get it?
So yeah. I get it. The time my wife and I went to see Formula One, which was the last, was that it? I think so. Or maybe we saw something else. When we saw Formula One, my wife says, well, let's get popcorn. I'm like, okay. And I don't know if you've had this with your wife. Then she'll say, put some butter on it. We each like different levels of butter.
Uh-huh.
So I said, how about if I get you your own? Okay. Because a handful of times I'll do butter. I mean, I'll do popcorn. Okay. At a movie, I like a lot of butter in my popcorn. She's like, yeah, put some butter on it. But she doesn't like as much butter. But I said, I'll get you. No, just get one. And they always cave. I'm always like, okay, just put a little bit on there. And I don't like it.
Do you have them put the butter on in the middle and then kind of shake the bag to get the butter to mix?
You know who used to do that? The few times I ever went to the movies with Jerry Green, it was an experience. Jerry Green would literally tell the person, put a third in, then the butter, then a third in, then the butter, then a third in, and would like literally take 5. That's enough. Okay, but more. That's okay. I literally was like, oh my God, I cannot believe what I'm watching right now. And to him, it ended up being like a soup because the bottom of the thing, it was that oil, yeah.
Heart attack in a bag.
Yeah. By the way, these are grapes that I'm eating. Highly recommend green grapes.
Someone wants to know if you have your Jack Daniels with you today.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Marc Jack Daniels.
Oh, yeah. Don't show the label. It's iced tea drops, okay? And my coffee, okay? That's it. But get the green grapes. This will be the only thing that I eat until I'll have a salad before the game tonight. Am I weird? Yes.
Well, that's obvious. But are you do you do red grapes at all?
Yeah. I just like a hard grape. My grape has to have a bite to it. I do not like soft grapes.
Agreed.
So I do feel outside. I do feel the bag outside before I purchase. And
you like the small sour grapes?
Nope. I like a big, juicy bite grape.
Have you had the cotton candy grape?
Yeah, I don't like those. Yeah.
What about the like I love the bagged sliced apples, but it's got to be the green apples. I don't do red for some reason.
I don't like the bag slice. I buy an apple and I'll cut the apple.
I like the slice.
Really?
Sweeter.
What are you, 4?
Maybe.
Can you eat an apple just by biting into it? It has to be sliced.
No, I can. Okay. I can eat an apple regular.
All right. We're going to go back and do the news. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us.
All right.
Orlando sports leader Marc Daniels, be sports on this Tuesday. A little bit of baseball news. MLB Players Association chief Tony Clark is stepping down as the executive director. Some think, this must be because of the pending labor battle ahead. Actually, it's likely in connection to some of the accusations being thrown at leaders of the MLBPA regarding finances and some shady things that may have been done. And that is why it appears that Tony Clark is stepping down. It may not be great for players because Clark's been there for a while, and with the upcoming battle with owners and an expected lockout, not the news that perhaps the players were hoping to hear. Chris is pumped up because at 4 o'clock today, what happens, Chris?
Franchise tag can go live.
Someone's going to be in their couch.
Yeah.
Ready to go, huh?
That's right.
Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks may pass on using a franchise tag on Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. The team looking at a number of financial situations that they're going to face, and Walker may not be among those players they plan on giving long-term deals to. Now, as we speak with Greg Allman of Fox Sports early in the program, it's possible that both sides agree to a lower price. If you're Kenneth Walker, though, Chris, do you see this as the last big contract opportunity?
Let me see. How old is Kenneth Walker? This was his rookie contract, or was this his second contract?
That I don't know. It might be his first. No, he's at Michigan State, and
So he's 25. So I would imagine this was his first contract.
Yeah.
25. Yeah, this will probably be his one and only big contract. So get the money while you can.
Last night, college basketball's big game matchup of two top 6 teams. Number 2, Houston played at number 6, Iowa State in Ames. And a 17-4 run by Iowa State gets them to a 70-67 win. Houston up by 10. Usually when they're up by 10, game's over. But Iowa State comes roaring back. Nate Heisey hit 3 threes, including a big one to give Iowa State the lead, which is over a minute to go. That wasn't the biggest thing in the Heisey family athletic-wise in the day. Early in the day, his sister, Taylor Heisey, scored the first of 5, the first of 5 team goals as the USA women's hockey team advanced to the gold medal match by beating Sweden 5-0. So while he hit some big threes, she scored a goal in the Olympics. I had a really big night. Well, did you score a goal in the Olympics?
If not, then shut up.
Yeah. But that's kind of cool.
Parents must be proud.
Ilana Myers Taylor, at the age of 41, had been the most decorated bobsled athlete in U.S. bobsledding history. The Mano Bob is a solo bobsled. Okay, you push and you get in. And she had her worst season leading into the Olympics, just of all the years. At 41, she's a mother with the 2 kids, 1 special needs child. It was the whole piece, which, again, part of the tape primetime show that NBC runs. And then she has 1 final run. In position to medal, 1 final run. And she posted time that puts her in first place. The last person to go was the 2-time world champion, a German bobsledder who did not beat her time. And Ilana wins a gold medal in what likely is her last international competition at the age of 41 and wins a gold. It was awesome.
Her. Good for her.
It was awesome. I knew the result, but I don't tell my wife what happened because she doesn't watch the Olympics during the day. Mm-hmm. So last night she's watching. And Chris, I did a little sacrifice last night.
Uh-oh.
Did a little sacrifice.
Uh-oh.
Okay. 7 o'clock, Duke Syracuse was on, but I'm doing my final game prep for the UCF basketball game. I was working on our show. My wife was doing some stuff. And then at 8 o'clock, she goes, "Can we watch the Olympics?" And I said, yes. I go, Iowa State, Houston's on at 9. She goes, "Oh, it's fine." But again, even though it's played back tape, it's in the middle of the pairs figure skating, which my wife will never miss. And the couple from Japan who fell in the short program does this incredible performance, and they vault into first place. But the top 4 from the short program are about to go. I'd watch the first half of the Iowa State Houston game on my computer and phone, okay, because I need my computer to do some work, okay? And of course, I look up, and it's the second half. It's about to start. The final 4 figure skating teams have not yet gone, and I blurted out going, "Are they going to milk this for an hour? Meaning, am I going to miss the second half and everything?" Because I know she wants to watch. And she goes, "Why?" I go, no, it's fine. She goes, "You can change." I go, "No, it's fine. It's fine." I tell myself, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? 4 skaters are going to milk an hour out of it?" They did for 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor Mark.
So it's like 10:48 or something. And she goes, "Okay, I'm going to go to bed." I'm like, "Great." Click on
the
final 2.5 minutes. Love you, honey. I'm sorry. Just one of those things.
That's great.
Just went down that way. UCF plays tonight in basketball. They'll take on TCU. Knights try to snap a 3-game losing streak. At the moment, most bracketologists, not that they're the final say, still have UCF on the right side of the bubble, but a loss tonight would not be good. They'll play TCU, who's won 3 straight, playing really well. Final home game before 2-game road trip, and the Knights come back home for 2 before 1 more on the road. 6-6 in the league. I still think 10 conference wins, and they're safely in the NCAA tournament. 9 maybe, but tough game tonight against TCU. We got coverage beginning at 6:30. Tip is set for just after 7 o'clock. That's what's happening in the news. On the mark, off the mark, coming up in about 25 minutes. We come back. The one college coach says, "Here's an idea to fix everything going on. I'm all in." Who's that coach, and what did he say? Next. No one knows the lyrics of this song.
Sugar,
At
we're
certain
going
parts,
down.
at certain parts. Today's Double Shot Tuesday theme. These are songs that have lyrics that no one knows. You think you know, and they start saying, "This is Fall Out Boy."
Am I more
Yeah, this part's
than
fine.
you bargained for yet? That's all I got.
Yeah, there you go. Uh-huh. Yeah, great song. Crank it up. And then there's a point you're like, I don't know what he just said. That's the theme for Double Shot Tuesday today, 50857 on the text line. Thanks to everybody that joined us or were on the stream, our YouTube stream, for one of our segments of the show within the show.
It was uneventful, says one.
It was. Yeah. We should have sacrificed an animal and it just had blood all over the studio. That would have been better. You could go and post something you want to talk about. That's the beauty of what that is, and it's evolving. But that's fine. It wasn't very eventful, but it wasn't bad.
It was good movie theater talk.
Yeah. So set your standard lower, man. Okay, look who you're talking to. just
Lower your
such a high standard for crying out loud.
Lower your standards. You'll never be disappointed.
All right, I want to play something for you.
Yep.
Mike Elko is the coach at Texas A&M, and he was doing an interview with On 3 and JD Pickle, does a show for them, and is asked a question that I think a lot of coaches give the same answer to. But the question, I'll let you hear it, and the answer from Mike Elko, it sounds good. It really does. And then I don't know what happens next, but here's the question.
Your educational background, I feel like you're the best person to ask this question to. If I said, Coach, there's just one thing you can tweak about college football to take a step towards fixing it, what would be that one thing that you're changing about the sport as it stands right now?
Put somebody in charge. I think it's a $1.2 billion industry with not a singular voice in charge of it, making decisions for the betterment of college football. And I think until we get that, we're going to continue to flounder with some of those areas. And so, what's best for the SEC isn't always what's best for the other conferences. What's best for the other conferences isn't always best for the SEC. And at some point, we're going to have somebody who's capable of making rules regarding the betterment of college football, enforcement of rules, and all of it. And again, until we get that, I think we're all at risk of this thing not lasting like we want it to last. And so that would be my piece.
It sounds really good, doesn't it, Chris? You got a coach at an SEC program that says, hey, let's get somebody and put him in charge. And let's kind of get some oversight here and have that person kind of lead us to getting rules in place. The industry is significantly worth more than $1.2 billion. You can spin numbers any way that you want. So, and by the way, I'm not picking on Mike Elko. It sounds really good. Say, hey, you know what? The best thing to do is, how about we all take a deep breath, and we all agree that somebody needs to be in charge of this. And everybody's got names. Everybody can come up with names. And some of these lists always include like the same people. Nick Saban, okay. All right. Nick's not taking a job as a commissioner. I just say not that Nick's old and not active, but
and he's really going to care about helping out Auburn,
wait.
Florida.
Nick Saban, Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, Chris Del Conte, he's the AD at Texas. Gene Smith is the former AD at Ohio State. These are names that people always throw out there, and they're smart people that either still sit in position of power or did sit in position of power. Gene Smith is retired, and fine, they're great names. I'll give you Danny White at Tennessee. Danny, of course, is at UCF. Has done a great job at Tennessee. Danny's brilliant. He'd be a great guy. Chris, let me pivot to use an example here. Roger Goodell, Adam Silver, Rob Manfred, Gary Bettman are commissioners of the 4 biggest leagues in this country.
Correct.
And who do they work for?
The owners.
Right. owners give power to the commissioner, and owners can take power away from the commissioner. Owners can fire the commissioner. The players don't get to fire the commissioner. If the NBA players are ticked off because Adam Silver is going to start being really aggressive and fining players, they don't get to vote him out. Owners do. But the problem, it's been the same story about a commissioner. Commissioner of what? In order for a commissioner to exist in college football, who needs to give the commissioner ultimate power?
That'd be what, the ADs essentially?
Conferences.
Yeah.
Conferences and ADs, right? Again, I've said this so many times. Why would anybody in the SEC go, you know what? Let's not have Greg Sankey be our final say. Let us just give the authority to somebody else that may make decisions that aren't in our best interest. Because if you want a commissioner, you're going to want a commissioner of all conferences. Now, does all conferences mean the two big ones breaking away? Is it the Power Four? Is it the 10 conferences? What is that commissioner in charge of? And I'm not questioning Mike Elko's intelligence, but I'm guessing if you began to ask me these questions, his answer would be like, listen, I don't know, man, just get somebody in charge. And hence is the problem, right? Because everybody looks out for themselves. Because what if, and let's pick a name because it's just easier. Like David Shaw, the former Stanford coach, has been in the NFL as an assistant. People like David Shaw would be a great guy. Fine. I once thought David Shaw could have been coach of the Giants when, he had really good teams at Stanford. Fine. And what if he says, well, here's the first thing we're going to do, guys. Here's the rules on how much money you can spend on a team. And what if he says, our research shows that this is the best number. And everybody in the SEC and Big Ten and Texas Tech says, no. No. And he says, well, you hired me to be a commissioner. And I'm telling you based on my people, and I'll make it a number, $35 million it is the cap. Who's with me? Right? What happens? Well, one, you cheat and you get around it. So what if the commissioner says, hey, I believe we have to keep non-conference games and we need to get whatever format for the playoff the committee needs to take into account. We need to encourage these games to be played. And then you get some coaches in the middle of the pack or bottom part of Power Fours that go, I'm not doing that. Why? I got to win to keep my job. I'm not scheduling tough non-conference games. Well, wait a minute. You hired me. Hey, when it comes to the transfer portal, here's the one window we've got, and here's the rules involved on when you can contact players, and we're going to follow it. How are we doing so far? How's the new commissioner doing? How's that working? And by the way, when it comes to investigations, okay, the commissioner's office is the final say. So if we're going to investigate something and we conclude that you're cheating, you're breaking our rules, and so forth, we get the final say. Who's with me? Who's going to vote for that? Because when you don't get the decision, like, what do, Chris? You go to court. You get a local judge.
That's all we do. Go to court.
So I don't have a problem when guys like Mike Oka go, we got to get somebody in charge of this thing. My counter would be, and I'm not blaming J.D. Pickle, because I did go back and I watched the interview, and it's not that he didn't follow up, but he didn't have the line of questioning, and I get it. He's not going to attack Mike Elko. People, well, Coach, how do you think that's possible? Would you agree to such things as a set cap number? Would you agree to specific rules on the portal and penalties and all sorts of stuff? And of course, the answer in a setting like that is, well, yeah, we need that. Until you get behind the scenes, and like, no, we're not doing that. And hence our problem. That's our problem. Remember, in the National Football League and in the NBA, forget Major League Baseball, they got their own issues. Those owners, the 32 and the 30 owners, they do view themselves, for the most part, on equal ground. I mean, one's in a major market, others may be in a smaller market, but for the most part, they operate with a we're equal. Okay? Now, baseball's problem, it's not players versus owners, it's owners versus owners, and that's going to lead to an absolute collapse for at least a year of their sport. But in the National Football League, and I've told the story many times, a salary cap exists because the guy that had the biggest leverage to say no was the guy that was fourth. That was Jerry Jones. But they all operate by saying it's in our best interest. It's in our best interest to all view ourselves equal and operate that way. And that's why anytime there's a battle labor in the NFL, the players get destroyed. They get destroyed because the owners, they dig in and they win. In college sports, it's not just conference versus conference. It's within the conference. It's within the conference. You think LSU wants to make it fair for Mississippi State? No. No interest whatsoever. So how can you ever get to a point when someone goes, we need a commissioner or a commission that oversees the sport, when it's impossible to get the parties involved to say, hey, if we don't do something, then it's going to collapse. When the major players don't care about your idea of a collapse because they're going to tell you, well, I'm going to survive. You know, if the football nuclear war hits, I'm a cockroach. I'll survive. And whatever's left of it, I'll still be here. There may be shrapnel that takes away 60%, but I'll still survive. So that's the problem. And I wish coaches, whether you think Mike Elko's a great coach or not, he's at a brand that has value. I wish they were more active in saying, hey, what do we want to demand? What do we want to really do? But it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And it's not going to happen because, and Mike Elko knows it's not going to happen because there's enough guys that black liquid called oil in Texas that could care less about a commissioner and guidelines and cap numbers and everything. I don't care about that. I just want to win. Remember when they were undefeated and everything was great for them? Okay. And then they lost. We'll spend more money next year. You know, are you going to tell Texas Tech, hey, it's nice, you think about spending maybe 60 this year, but the cap's 35? Well, I'll be darned if you can tell me the cap. So, like I said, it's easy to say, well, here's what we need. Just get me a commissioner. Really? Okay. Well, will you help to convince everybody else that you work with that they have to accept that there's going to be change that might impact them a little bit? At the end of the day, and by the way, Mike Elko's backside of the contract is $12.5 million. Chris, what matters to Mike Elko at the end of the day?
Money.
For him and his players.
Yes.
Why? Because that wins games. When you win games, you get bigger contracts, right? Not like, hey, what do you think's good for NC State or UCF? Hence, we have what we have. On the mark, off the mark, next. Today's Double Shot Tuesday theme. These are songs whose lyrics you may not understand. Iconic song.
Love the intro. Love the intro.
If you're watching on the YouTube stream, you're not hearing the music. That's for licensing reasons. You hear me and probably like, I can't hear the music.
You can also see my air drums.
Another show within the show coming up at the next break. If you're on the YouTube stream, if you're not, go there, click on. We'll try better.
We'll be more eventful.
Yeah. Thinking about poking myself with something, causing a flesh wound. Anyway, let's get to On the Mark, Off the Mark.
It's a Tuesday staple on the beat of sports. On the Mark, Off the Mark. Presented by Bowegan's Beer Company. Bowegan's, recrafting perceptions.
All right, so I'm going to start with this one because it's kind of breaking news, but not really. Anthony Richardson seems to be done with the Indianapolis Colts and is expected to seek a trade out of Indy. Richardson's career has not lived up to expectations after the Colts used the 4th overall pick to select him back in 2023. I don't think Richardson has a career in the NFL as a quarterback, but would I be on the mark or off the mark for believing that the only way for him to prolong his career would be to switch positions?
Oh, Bill pulling it on me here, huh? Wow. Do you know Anthony Richardson's record as a starting quarterback, which I think sometimes is unfair, but go ahead.
It's not good.
What do you got?
What is he? I don't know his record.
You want the number of games?
Sure.
15.
15. Let's say 6-9.
8-7.
Okay.
Played 2 games last year before the elastic band, whatever injury it actually was. So I don't know what the market is. I mean, I'm going to guess it was through the agent. It was like, look, we'd like a trade. And the Colts were like, hang on, I want to make sure the line was working. Did you guys say that you want to trade or you're looking for aid? What is it? We want to trade. Trade. You know what this is? It's probably the Colts telling Anthony Richardson's people, you have permission to go find a taker. Now, Chris, you need one. Is there anybody in the NFL that says, here's a 6th or 7th round pick? Let's say you got a team, and you know teams sometimes will stockpile. Let's say somebody's got 2 6s and 2 7s in the upcoming draft.
Here's where it could get interesting. If you're Miami, do you take a flyer?
So, well, you're kind of getting at what I'm saying. If you've got multiple 6 or 7 round pick and you say to the Colts, how about a 7th? Do the Colts say a 5th? And you say, well, how about a 6th? Would you trade for Anthony Richardson if it was a 6th or 7th round pick?
At that point, why not?
Okay, so you're I'm kind of boxing you in a corner by going, with 31 teams, there probably is somebody that says, what are we really risking? We got multiple 6 or 7s. If we give up a 6th, and we get him and it doesn't work out, no one's going to care. But maybe the change of scenery, and maybe it's a team that doesn't need a starting quarterback. Anthony, I'm not bringing you I'm bringing you here to see if you got a chance to develop into a backup for us. My guess is there probably is someone that would do it.
So then I'm gonna say you're saying I'm off the mark.
But I think you're kind of agreeing with me, though. I'm not saying, Chris, you're totally wrong, but I think 31 teams, there may be somebody that says a 6th or 7th, I'll do it.
I mean, I could see it, but again, I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Maybe the best way to prolong and have an extended career in the NFL would be to switch positions.
Okay, but can I just kind of counter?
Okay.
As far as I know, the Anthony Richardson high school story to Gator quarterback to a projection of something that never really developed fully. How do you know that that's even possible based on the fact he's not done anything else in his football career?
How do you know he's a quarterback?
Chris, he's not proven to be an NFL quarterback, and he wasn't proven to be a great college quarterback. He was projected and then drafted based on what you thought he could be. I just, when people go change positions, like, oh, it's that easy. It's that easy. Whether you laugh and go at the age of 10 or 11, whenever he began to quote play quarterback, well, now just go play this position. What position, by the way?
I'll say tight end.
Sure, let's go play that position where you get knocked around. Yeah, he's never done it.
He's not going to make it in the NFL as a quarterback.
Then maybe he just won't make it.
Okay.
And maybe there's no market for him.
Okay. Well, I just mentioned the Dolphins. The Dolphins are cleaning house as on Monday they released Tyreek Hill. I guess unofficially they've released Bradley Chubb and a few others as they push reset on what was a failed experiment under Mike McDaniel. In his first 2 seasons, McDaniel took the Dolphins to the playoffs despite never winning a playoff game. Now McDaniel and GM Chris Greer are gone, and income head coach Jeff Hafley and GM John Eric Sullivan, both from Green Bay, who will undertake the reconstruction of this Dolphins franchise that's looking for their first playoff win since the year 2000. By the way, do you know when that playoff game was played back in 2000?
Do I know when the playoff game was played?
It
Was
played
that the
in
Lamar Smith game?
It was played in December.
Yeah.
A December playoff game.
And I think that's when Lamar Smith was still running the football for the Dolphins. And I
that-
also believe that the game was blacked out locally because we had not changed the blackout rules yet in the NFL. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah.
Wow. It was played at Pro Player Stadium, and Jay Fiedler was the quarterback of the team that last won a playoff game for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
While the team pushes reset, would I be on the mark or off the mark? And I know you've kind of touched on this already, for believing that this new regime will be responsible for getting this team on the right path, and they will still be around when the Dolphins end their streak of seasons without a playoff win.
Wait. That they'll be around when the Dolphins do turn it around?
Yes. And they will be responsible for leading the Dolphins to their first win since 2000.
I don't know that. I don't know that that's to be the case. And that may be unfair to John Eric Sullivan and to Jeff Hafley, but there's no track record here. There's none. It's an owner that's up there in age. It's a team that's going to completely bottom out. It's a coach that the only track record as a head coach was a losing coach at Boston College. It's a young, rising executive, and now is given the keys to a franchise for the first time. And I don't know why anybody goes, well, this is going to work.
If you had to look in your crystal ball, we'll say 4 or 5 years from now,
Jeff Hafley's not the Dolphin coach.
So then I would. All right, let me ask you this. What happens first? A Dolphins playoff win or the Cowboys reaching an NFC championship game?
Cowboys reaching an NFC championship game.
Wow, the Dolphins are that bad. They're that far off?
Chris, joking aside, your team's not void of talent. Your team finds ways to blank a season.
For damn sure.
I've never argued about the talent level of the Cowboys. It just stuff happens. Either Dak gets hurt, other guys get hurt, Jerry does something. It's not for a lack of talent. I mean, if you did like player rankings like college football, the Cowboys would be a top 8 team in total talent every year.
Makes me so sad. It's a battle of the eyes for the Chicago Bears as Illinois tries to keep their team, while Indiana has also showed interest in the team. But wait, now we enter Iowa.
Yeah.
As they now want to make a push and try and land an NFL franchise. The team is currently trying to find a new home after Soldier Field, and the Illinois legislature reportedly declined a lakefront site that's close to Soldier Field now and would have required more than $1 billion in taxpayer support. That decline led Kevin Warren, team president, to mention the idea of moving to Indiana, with their 3 largest cities showing an interest in the franchise. Any move seems like it would be years down the road, but would I be on the mark or off the mark for believing that the Bears anywhere else other than Chicago just doesn't fit?
I think Orlando should get in the mix.
They're not an eye.
No. Just we get an eye in Florida. So I mean, they can still be called the Chicago Bears, but let's all.
They belong in Chicago.
It's not the 11 o'clock hour yet, despite the fact that they've had so many different proposals and offers. It's not the 11 o'clock hour. Whenever we get to the 11 o'clock hour, somebody will figure out a way, and somewhere around Chicago, they'll get a deal done. The Bears are not going to play in Iowa
or Indiana. No, they belong in Chicago. I hope and pray, even though I think the NFL is kind of forcing teams, if they want to host a Super Bowl, to build domes in these northern cities that deal with the elements. Chicago in a dome doesn't work. The Bears outside of Chicago doesn't work.
No. Even if they built a retractable roof, they should be required to open it in November and December because the Bears and Packers should always play in the cold.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more quick one here. I get we're in a new world of college athletics. It may be one I'll never understand, but as time moves forward, we all have to evolve with the times. Mark, you and I have gone back and forth on this topic, and we could keep going until we're blue in the face about guys like Darren Peterson. He's gifted and has franchise-changing ability, and had it not been for a rule that says he has to play at least 1 year in college, he would have skipped college and gone right to the NBA. But he did have to go to college, and he is being paid a lot of money to play. There aren't too many players on a yearly basis that have the perceived franchise-changing talent of a Peterson. But would I be on the mark or off the mark for believing that colleges will be wary moving forward of offering up big money to those types of talented players because of the uncertainty that they will play every game?
I believe you're off the mark.
Completely asinine.
For the other future players like Darren Peterson that have the leverage to say, I want to X, and if you don't pay me, someone else is going to pay me until there's no other option. But there'll be plenty of teams and coaches that need to win championships that'll convince their ADs and donors to give the money to get the guy because it's a difference maker. And here's the thing, despite all the back and forth you and I've done on this, if Darren Peterson helps Bill Self win 3 weekends in a row, what was it worth? And what I mean by 3 weekends, he has to win 3 weekends in the NCAA tournament. And if Darren Peterson keeps doing what he does, but then they get to the NCAA tournament, Kansas is going to be in it. And they win 2 games the first weekend, and 2 games the next weekend, and 2 games the next weekend. Was it worth it? The answer is going to be yes.
Yeah, it's a big if, though.
It is a big if, and the odds today tell you that you're going to be right because as good as Kansas is, it's hard to guarantee someone a championship. But in the end, even in Kansas City, where I'm going to be in a few weeks for the Big 12 tournament, and I wouldn't be shocked if Peterson's going to skip this game. All Kansas fans want to know is when the ball goes up in the first round of the NCAA tournament, is he playing? Now, if he pulls that in the NCAA tournament, that's what he's going to be remembered for.
Again, how much is he reportedly making?
As low as 3.5, most likely closer to 5.
$5 million reportedly for a college kid who dictates when he plays,
who's there
when
to
he
use
wants
them,
to play.
And they use him, and the goal is to win 3 weekends in March and early April. Yeah.
Completely asinine. On the mark, off the mark.
Before we wrap up, we'll tell you what's on tomorrow's program. Join us on the YouTube stream for the show within the show. You mentioned Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
If you go on the stream, I'm going to read you the quarterback class he was in 2020.
Okay.
So that's on the stream on the YouTube, but access the show. We're back to put a wrap on the radio program next.
Hello.
So this is Anthony Richardson's 2020 class.
2020, like when he was in college?
2020. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's coming out.
Okay.
This is the class of quarterbacks. Okay. Bryce Young was the highest rated quarterback.
Okay.
DJ Uyunglele. Listen, there's the moment. He has that one game against Notre Dame. We thought, hey, you think Trevor Lawrence is good. Wait to see DJ Uyunglele. Like, that's the greatest thing ever, okay?
Okay.
Third in the class, CJ Stroud. Evan Prater, who I remember was a big get for Cincinnati. Like, whoa, he's going to – okay. Jaquindon Jackson went to Texas, as did Hudson Card. So they have a fifth and sixth. Malik Hornsby went to Arkansas. Harrison Bailey at Tennessee. Luke Doty went to South Carolina. The 10th rated quarterback in that class, Haynes King, originally committed to Texas A&M, and he ended up at Georgia Tech. Ethan Garbers went to Washington. Hunter Deckers at Iowa State. The 13th rated quarterback, Carson Beck. 14th rated quarterback, Anthony Richardson to Florida. Chubba Purdy was behind him, 15th in that class. Trying to scroll down. Jeff Sims, who I still think is in his 9th year, was going to Georgia Tech. Chandler Morris, who just finished up playing, he committed to Oklahoma. Tate Rodemaker, remember him at Florida State? He was 29th. 30th rated quarterback in the 2020 class was Will Howard. Of course, Kansas State then to win a national championship at Ohio State. Okay, and here's the great one. 32, just ahead of Max Johnson, Brad Johnson's kid, who went to LSU and then ended up in North Carolina, ended up playing in the game against UCF earlier this year. The 32nd rated quarterback in the class that Anthony Richardson was in 2020, Jalen Suggs of the Orlando Magic.
Wow.
Was in that class as a high 3-star recruit.
The more you know.
Yeah. How about that?
Someone wants to know, is Anthony Richardson a bigger bust than Jamarcus Russell? No.
No. That is one of the all-time.
No. Jamarcus
great.
Russell, you have a better argument of Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf, but Anthony Richardson, no, not close to the bust that Jamarcus Russell is.
No.
Or was.
I'm just looking at the football profile of Jalen Suggs. Is pretty cool. You know, good length, strong arm, decent understanding of reads, and then there's the basketball profile on it, which is really impressive. But it's a pretty good class when you go back and look at it.
Good Lord. I didn't realize Jalen Suggs is 6'5".
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a 2-sport stud in high school. Yeah. It's pretty cool. You scroll down like, wait, Jalen. Oh, that is Jalen Suggs, the guy you're talking about right there. Yeah.
Wow.
But Anthony Richardson, just he was a good high school quarterback. He was a ton of hype that people just thought.
Is it just because he's big and athletic?
Yeah. Everybody agreed. If he stayed a full year, now again, you take into account what's going on, the coaching situation, and then Florida was trying to, get a 5-star kid, DJ Lagway, and well, that was also Jaden Rashada, the whole Miami and Florida thing there. That was also crazy. So anyway, all right. We're going to go back and finish up the other portion of the program. See ya.
See you in a little bit.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Thanks for those that hopped over to watch the show within the show on our YouTube stream. Available every day. So we stream the show live. The four of you that watched.
No, I think we had a good amount.
Let's see. Luke Combs is opening his restaurant at City Walk in 27. Category 10 restaurant. Just got a little, I think he's got like several of these across the country. Always nice to get new stuff here. Yeah. We said basketball tonight against TCU. Horned Frogs. Big game for them. We're back tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of our show. Keith Smith's going to talk basketball with us. We'll get to that. Scott Harris did a little movie Wednesday with us. We got a whole bunch more to get to in the program. Miss any of today's show, go where you get your favorite podcast. Type of the Beat of Sports on Demand to get access to the entire show. Miss today's video stream. Go to YouTube and put in 96.9 The Game Orlando. Click on the 96.9 The Game icon, and then click live. Then you can watch a full replay of the show. Thanks for those that have done that, and check it out if you haven't. Chris, have a nice day.
You as well, Mark.
Going to see you for a Wednesday edition of Beat of Sports tomorrow. Bye-bye.